July 9th, 1863. Indiana is under attack. A large invading force is just outside of one of Indiana's largest cities and old state capitals, Corydon. The only defense is a small force of rapidly organized Indiana militia. What ensued was one of the most interesting chapters of the American Civil War, the Battle of Corydon. As Indiana's only significant battle of the Civil War and one of the few battles ever fought on northern soil during the Civil War, the Battle of Corydon should make the list of the Civil War's most revered battles, yet it has been largely forgotten as it was overshadowed by the much larger battles fought during that great conflict in American history. This documentary is meant to promote the memory of the forgotten Battle of Corydon and serve as a commemoration to the brave men who participated in that small but sharp fight. The story begins in Tennessee in June of 1863 when General Braxton Bragg ordered General John Hunt Morgan to go on a raid behind Union lines in occupied Tennessee and Kentucky in order to take pressure off of the battered and outnumbered Confederate Army of Tennessee. Bragg also specifically ordered Morgan to not cross over the Ohio River into Northern Territory. From June 11 to July 8, General Morgan with 2,400 cavalrymen raided through Tennessee and Kentucky. On July 8th, for reasons unknown, General Morgan disobeyed General Bragg and led his men across the Ohio River at Brandenburg, Kentucky, into Indiana with 2 captured steamboats. During the crossing, Morgan and his men encountered a company of Indiana militia, but easily overpowered it after a brief skirmish. With news of the crossing, militia units throughout southern Indiana were quickly mobilized. One of these was the 6th Regiment of the Indiana Legion, made up of 450 men from Harrison County. On the morning of July the 9th, the 6th, under command of Colonel Lewis Jordan, set up a line of defense a mile south of Corydon to meet the attack that was sure to come. At about 11:30 in the morning, the lead elements of Morgan's force came within sight of the Indiana militia. The rebels formed into a line of battle, and at around noon they launched their attack on the Union line. Although a motley force of poorly trained and ill-equipped militia, the 6th put up fierce resistance. 3 times the Confederates attacked and 3 times they were repulsed. Soon after the 3rd assault failed, Morgan arrived on the scene with reinforcements and artillery. With 1,800 men and 2 pieces of artillery, Morgan launched a 4th assault on both of the Union flanks, which threatened to encircle the Indiana militiamen. Seeing this, Colonel Jordan ordered a withdrawal back to Corydon, which quickly turned into a rout. During the rout, many of the militiamen were captured. Jordan organized another defense within the city, but when the rebels surrounded the city and fired 2 warning shots over the city with their artillery, Jordan decided that continued resistance was futile and surrendered the remainder of his force. All in all, the battle had lasted for about an hour. The Union suffered 4 dead, 10 to 12 wounded, and 355 captured, while the Confederates suffered 11 dead and 40 wounded. After Colonel Jordan surrendered, the Confederates entered Corydon, where they paroled the Union prisoners and made them swear an oath to not take up arms against the Confederacy until they could be exchanged with rebel prisoners. For the rest of the afternoon, Morgan's men plundered Corydon. At around 6 p.m., Morgan and his men left Corydon and made camp a few miles outside of the city in northern Harrison County. The next day, the Confederates left Corydon and continued their raid through southern Indiana and into Ohio as they were pursued by Union cavalry and state militia units. After a couple failed attempts to cross the Ohio River and make it back to the safety of the South, Morgan and most of his men were captured in Ohio by overwhelming forces. Morgan was among the last of the raiders to get captured on July 26, 1863, when the remainder of his force was defeated at the Battle of Salineville in northeastern Ohio, thus bringing Morgan's raid to an end. The delay caused by the Hoosier defenders at the Battle of Corydon helped make the destruction of Morgan's force possible, because the fight they put up slowed the Confederates down enough to allow the pursuing Union army to catch up. Today, the sights and sounds of war are long gone from the Corydon battlefield. Entered on the National Register of Historic Places in 1979 because of its importance to Indiana as well as American history, The Battle of Corydon Memorial Park is a peaceful 5-acre attraction managed by the Harrison County Park and Recreation Department. Within the park there are commemorative markers, a log cabin, a trail, and a Civil War cannon. By visiting the site, visitors learn about the Battle of Corydon, General John Hunt Morgan's daring raid into Northern Territory, and the Civil War in general. While visiting the Corydon Battlefield Memorial Park, you get the sense that there is something different about that piece of ground. If you listen closely, it is as if you can almost hear the voices of those who fought there long ago as they try to tell you their story of the battle and explain why they were willing to put their lives on the line.